This is our annual district ministers retreat where they can bring their spouse or a guest with them to this retreat every year.
I'm in a kind of a unique situation. I'm retired. The Springfield congregation closed a number of years ago, and we're over an hour away from the nearest Brethren church. So events like this retreat are especially important to me to still feel connected, still feel supported by the denomination.
I feel that the program Stan is doing this weekend is a good, it's good for me as a multi-vocational pastor, because it helps us to see where we can grow as, as a leader in the church. And he's also going through some steps as far as evangelism and relationship building.
Give me some insight on it to help congregations get through dramatic change like happened with the pandemic, and how we've come out of that, and how things will never really be quite the same, somewhat the same, but never the same.
Even though our congregations are small, I find they're very resilient and very adaptable. And I heard several things from others that gave me ideas and inspirations, and I appreciated that. And I also appreciated the question on evangelism, which reflected how is it that we are invited into the presence of others. And that postures evangelism differently for me, and I was grateful for that.
Well, the presentation of being called into the church is one we're always called to be the church. So it's one of the things that is happening, though, is the world is changing at such a dramatic pace that it is becoming more challenging for leadership and for congregations to really understand understand how to do ministry in the changing context of what you're in. Communities are impacted, and when communities are impacted, congregations are impacted, because those same members are part of that society and that culture of that community.
I hope to take back some of the processes about being uplifting, instead of being directive, being involvement, where I think is one of the last slides he showed was the kind of the two steps, the two sides of that I want to be able to go back and implement some of those, involving more people, which is what we're doing. And yeah, I can see the results it was just a good reminder to keep doing that kind of stuff.
From what I've learned this weekend, I hope to take home the fact that relationships are vital to the strength of our communities, and especially the small congregation. So people want to see how Jesus matters to you.
In terms of needs for the multi-vocational pastor, is there's a lot of demands on their time. Not only there's the church, but then there's also the family and work needs. So part of it is in terms of how they're going about trying to keep balance in their life, work ministry life balance, being able to develop leaders in the congregation. And while there may be established leaders, are they leaders that have capacity to adapt? Because we now need adaptable, critical thinking leaders in our churches. Because of all the different kinds of dynamics that churches are facing.
There's always both pressure and self-expectation, and many voices that call for attention, I guess you could say, needs that need to be addressed. So there is some of that, but there's also a lot of gifts that are given to me by virtue of being involved in several fields at once. I'm still part-time employed in the family business, and so meeting the world from a different than church perspective is, I feel, an asset.
I believe my ministry is influenced by being multi-vocational, as challenging at times, but the congregation is very understanding, and they try to help me in many different areas of leadership as much as possible.
I have to carve out time to do it. It's not something I can dedicate all week or 8 hours a day to developing. I have to really dedicate just a certain amount of time. I have an idea of how much time I'm going to be able to have, and then try to make the sermon or whatever we're going to talk about that week fit into that time I had prepared, and still have a life besides work and work. So I try to keep it balanced.
They are very supportive of me as a congregation, as they realize that I carry 2 jobs as district executive and as one of the ministers on their ministry team, working with them and trying to be a pastor to them, as well as a district executive to the people in the district. So they're very understanding and supportive of me in that role as well.
From several district executives ago, I was supported to come into ministry, and throughout all of the service of the men and women that I have known in district office, there has been support, there's been encouragement, there's been exhortation to improve and to continue my education. And we're very grateful now to this district executive and to the Office of Ministry for this time together.
Thank you for the opportunity to help the pastors and the ministers in our district to learn and to grow and to develop new tools and ways in which they can help their churches.
I'd especially like to thank the denomination for assistance with the expenses for this. In these times right now, it's especially difficult to have high transportation expenses and everything to get to places. So it's been a meaningful weekend, and I appreciate it.